In this video, I'm gonna put two different anamorphic lenses, both from Blazar, head to head. I've got the 85mm t2.8 1.5 times lens. This is part of the Remus series from Blazar. And this one over here is the 125mm T4 2 times lens from the Cato series. So you might be wondering, why am I putting these particular lenses head to head? And they're from totally different families. We've got 1.5 times desqueeze. This one's a 2 times desqueeze. This is 85mm. This is 125mm. Like, what? Those are like, there's no parity at all. I wanted to see the 1.5 times look versus the 2 times look. Like, is there really that much of a difference? Is it necessary to invest in one that's a little bit pricier? The 2x lenses are always going to be pricier than lenses that have lower desqueeze than that because they just have more glass elements in them to get that 2 times expanded field of view and everything, and that extra stretchy bokeh. And also, I didn't want the overall field of view to be that different when comparing these lenses after they've been desqueezed. So let me just explain for a sec here, guys. The 85mm, this one, when it is desqueezed by 1.5 times, is going to give like a 57mm field of view, right? A wider field of view. The 125mm, this one desqueezed by 2 times, so just divided by 2, is going to give like a 62mm field of view. So they're pretty close fields of view, actually, in the end that you're going to get, as long as you're using the full width of the camera sensor. Oh, and I'm going to be using these on the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K, by the way. So I thought that having as close of the same field of view in the final image would allow you guys to really be able to focus on looking at the different anamorphic qualities of the lens and the different depth of field as well, because we've got a 125mm depth of field here, which is going to be much shallower than an 85mm depth of field, right? Even though this is a T4 lens versus a T2.8. Yes, this can let in more light, but 125mm at T4, that's still really gonna, out of focus areas are gonna be knocked quite out of focus at T4. Oh, and a final thing to note, guys, before we get into the footage, I'm gonna be using the Laowa probe lens focal reducer on the Cato lens here. And on the Remus, I'm just going to be using a regular adapter because I'm adapting both of these lenses, which are EF mount, to an L mount camera. Now, if you watched my previous video on turning the Blackmagic 6K into a medium format camera, I speak much more about the Laowa probe lens focal reducer. You might be wondering, why am I using this? Focal reducer is going to expand the field of view. So I'm going to be using the cropped Super 35 4x3 mode on the Blackmagic 6K with this lens, but because of the focal reducer, that's going to get expanded to full frame 4x3. So let's say that this is our full frame 3x2 sensor, 3x2 sensor on Blackmagic 6K. Cropped 4x3 mode, it's going to look something like that. This is not to scale, but I think you get the point. So 4x3 there, right? So when we use the focal reducer, right, we're going to expand. If we're in that 4x3 crop mode, it's going to expand to actually, it ends up being just a little bit, you lose a little bit of horizontal field of view, but you pick up on the vertical field of view. So we get that 4x3 full frame, just losing a little bit on the sides, but getting more height. And that's going to allow us to, instead of like a 3:1 aspect ratio with the 2x Cato lens, we're going to get that 2.66 widescreen because we get a little bit of that extra height, right? So it'll end up being just, it's just going to feel so much better. The Remus lens is just going to have the standard adapter, EF to L mount adapter, and I'm going to use this on the full 6K open gate mode on the Cinema Camera 6K, which is using the full 3x2 sensor. I think most of my anamorphic fam knows this, but you can go back and actually watch my first anamorphic video or one of my older anamorphic videos where I talk about different sensor sizes. The short of the long of it is that on a 1.5 times lens, you're going to want to use that on a 3x2 sensor, and on a 2 times lens, you're going to want to use that on a 4x3 sensor to get the best sort of anamorphic look, widescreen look out of these lenses. All right, guys, let's get into the footage. So guys, if you've been enjoying this video, checking out these sweet anamorphic lenses, you might enjoy some other videos on my channel. Consider clicking that subscribe button and helping support me. I really appreciate it. I'm really curious to get your take on what you thought of the footage. Did you have a preference on the 1.5 times look or the 2 times look? Let me know in the comments below, which one you prefer. Personally, I gotta say, guys, I love this 2 times look. It is just gorgeous. That extra stretchy bokeh, that's like the icing on the cake. That just right there. It's a chef's kiss. And that final 2.66 to 1 aspect ratio, I am just such a huge fan of it. Not as much a fan of the 2.25 to 1 aspect ratio. I just need a little bit more widescreen, you know what I'm saying, guys? You know what I'm saying? They are a bit more expensive than the Remus lenses by a few $100s, but they're still crazy affordable. We are in like the golden age of budget anamorphic lenses that still produce absolutely beautiful images. The Blazar lenses, they might be a little bit rough, a little bit softer than Atlas lenses or ARRI lenses, of course, but those are like 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 grand, and the image they produce is still just beautiful. All right, guys, I'm rambling here. Last thing that I will note in terms of like if you're looking to purchase a set of lenses and you're on a budget, right? And like what are the best two lenses, 2 or 3 lenses from each of the series, the Cato and the Remus series, that I would recommend. Well, I've got the 85mm and the 45mm. I think those are probably the best all around in terms of being able to get wider field of view and tighter field of view on the Remus series. On the Cato series, the 125mm that I've got here, as well as the 55mm, because when you desqueeze that by 2 times, that's going to give you like a 27, 28mm field of view. You will get, some additional exposure control, additional light with the Remus lens because it is T2.8. It can open up to T2.8, which is going to enhance the stretchy bokeh, right? Those bokeh balls, but not to the extent of the 2 times. Don't get me wrong, I think it's still a great look, guys. I still think the Remus lenses are an awesome investment, but if I had to choose, it's gonna be Cato all day, every day. All right, if you enjoyed this video, guys, click that like button, consider subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.